Hi, it's Kim from Expressions of the Universe with your weekly wisdom for January 3rd of 2021 through January 9th of 2021. We're in the first week of a new year, new decade, and guess what? Not much is going to be changing anytime soon. But it should feel lighter and we should feel hopeful, a little bit more refreshed, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Um, so I have your cards and I have your stars and I have some channeled messages. I figured I would give you a full view of my very expensive Christmas tree, which I'm extremely grateful for. Have to give it a drink. I'm keeping this thing up as long as possible because trees were very expensive this year. Um, and you know what? Everything that we've just been through, why not have a decorated Christmas tree in my living room as long as possible? And then once I take everything apart, I put it outside in the stand for the birds and squirrels to enjoy, and I'll string like some popcorn and cranberries and different dried fruits on there for the squirrels. Um, so yeah, we're starting new, we're starting fresh. I had a lot of channeled messages coming through over the past few days, and actually there's Missa um, picking cards from her. Love the tail. I think that's a message for all of us. She'll be 17 soon, so I'm so grateful that I still have her. But what was interesting, I realized today just how long another message has been coming through. So I want to explore for this coming year goddesses. And I think I will pull one goddess card per week. There are 52 in this deck. It is the Colette Baron Reed Goddess Oracle deck. I got this deck almost 3 years ago, and I have barely used it. I actually had to go digging for it and for the guidebook. Um, but Hecate, who is a goddess, has been coming to me over and over and over again. And I knew that she was in this deck because Colette Baron Reed had spoken years ago about how Hecate was her favorite goddess. I knew she was the goddess of the underworld. I really didn't know a lot about her. But I've been talking for years about that nurturing feminine energy coming in. And I think with the shift into Aquarius energy, not saying age of Aquarius, it's just another doorway into that energy that we're leading up to. But I feel that, women are really stepping into their own. They're going to reclaim their power. I'm not saying anything about against men. Um, I'm not an uber feminist. I'm very, very equal. Um, but I just have been getting that message for like the last, actually, it's almost 4 years. So I'm going back to 2017. My gosh, it feels like it was just yesterday, or even like a year ago. But I've been saying that message over and over again, looking at the astrology and seeing what we're coming into. And then I realized, in ancient times, women were the rulers of the villages, and then that power got taken away from them. And then they were storied about and pictured from the patriarchy in a very negative way, especially even the goddesses. And so I've recently, and I think I showed you a couple weeks ago, I purchased a book from Demetra George about asteroid goddesses, Ceres, Vesta, Juno, and Athena or Pallas. And these goddesses are all known by so many different names depending on what the culture is and the particular mythology, Greek, Roman, whatever other culture, and Indian culture, both native and Asian Indian, and Chinese culture. There are just so many goddesses all over the world. Um, but they all have that same story, and it's interesting how a lot of their stories have been, I guess, bastardized is the word that I have coming to me. So I really want to highlight the power, and I think this is great for men and women. All of us have that yin and yang side. We all have the um the duality of masculine and feminine in us. And I think these are all great messages for all of us. So, some of the channeled messages that I have been getting over and over again. Oh, back up. So, Hecate, so I pulled her out. Hecate is going to be the first card that I highlight. And I don't know, the screen isn't looking that clear. I'm hoping this is recording well. If not, we're going to just have to go with it. Um, she's been coming to me over and over again, and you're going to find out why she must have been coming to me for like the last, oh my gosh, almost a year, I think, and maybe I finally got the message. Um, and you'll find out when you see what her theme is. I'm going to do a full astrological wheel for the year reading. And I'll be posting that after this video. Um, I'm just going to keep this by itself, my little miss. And so stay tuned. I'm going to do a full in-depth tarot and oracle reading for the year to come, and we'll see how that works out. I'm not pairing it up with the astrology. The astrology for January is so off the hook, crazy. Like, there's just so many aspects. I don't even want to think about it, or get into it, or bog all of you down with it. However, the important things to note are we have a new moon on January 13th, so that'll be the following week, and that's in Capricorn. And this week we have, well, it's not exactly this week. January 6th is going to be a really big day, energetically, astrologically wise. Um, I saved something on my phone from Adam Summer, who is a fellow astrologer, and he said we're on the verge of an epiphany. Mars will finally solidify his position in Taurus, so that's on January 7th. And Neptune will create a bending with the great dragon, so that would be the nodes, the north and south nodes of the moon, this coming Wednesday, January 6th. It's the most eventful day in 2021 for us this far. And it says, what's interesting, he says, an insightful sage once wrote, the only question worth asking is, what are we unwilling to feel? And isn't that true? Um, because we push a lot of our feelings away and we bury them deep. And with these aspects to Neptune, especially with Venus sextiling Neptune, um, we could be living in denial, but we have an opportunity to be really creative and pay attention to your dreams. Also, somebody is moving. Mercury is moving into. Dun, dun, dun. Mercury's moving into Aquarius on January 9th, so that is Saturday. Mercury will be going Retrograde at the end of the month. Mercury will be spending all of its retrogrades in air signs this year. So if you're a Gemini, Aquarius, or a Libra, it will be affecting you the most. Of course, traditionally, Virgo and Gemini are ruled by Mercury, so they are always affected. Um, thanks. And wait, we have somebody moving into Capricorn. Venus will move into Capricorn the same day that Mercury moves into Aquarius on January 9th. So there'll be big shifts. Big shift on Wednesday, January 6th, big shift on January 7th. And the reason why it's so, why the Mars moving into Taurus is so important because Taurus has, I mean, Mars has been in his home sign of Aries since July. And usually he spends 6, 7 weeks in a sign and then he moves on because he's pretty fast moving. But he went retrograde for a long period of time and he's been stuck in his home planet. He feels great there, but it creates a lot of anger, a lot of ego, a lot of aggression. It's supposed to create action. I think the retrograde made a lot of us slow down. I felt like I was stuck in mud and I think it would have been Virgo season. So, right when he was going retrograde, typically when it's Virgo, I feel like cleaning my house, getting things ready, like fall cleaning. And I had no motivation at all. I lost my creative mojo, but it's coming back. The only thing with Mars in Taurus is that it could feel like we are weighted down and we have no motivation, that our feet are stuck in the mud, like and the mud has dried over into hardened clay. So we could be feeling very sluggish. Listen, it's winter. Look outside. I saw a post from one of my friends and I thought it was fantastic. You know, people are so we're so expected to always be doing, never to stop, or we're deemed lazy. And I shouldn't talk because I just did a renovation of my bathroom, little mini reno in 36 hours, with a little sleep in between. But we're forced and we're conditioned by Capricorn energy, the energy we're moving out of, to constantly be on the go. Nose to the grindstone, don't stop, keep going. But it's winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. So if you look outside, just about everything has died away. And a lot of the animals, they are resting. The plants, the trees, the bulbs, our grass, it's resting. The forest is resting. It is quiet. And so why can't we honor that? That's what people used to do. They used to allow their bodies to rest because they knew when the spring came that they had 3 seasons, spring, summer, fall, to do the planting and all of the gardening. And then, of course, at the end, right before winter came, they would do the harvest. So it was 3 full seasons of very hard labor. So they allowed their bodies to rest and recharge and nourish on what they had harvested in the fall or autumn. So think about that. Allow your bodies to rest. We just went through one freaking hell of a year. So why not? We have a new moon. Oh, I told you on January 13th. So that's a week away. So let's get started. I have Hecate, and I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm pulling one card from separate decks, and I'll focus on those Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so she will be the focus on Monday, and I post that on Facebook and Instagram at Expressions of the Universe. So Hecate, she's the goddess of the in between. And I'm looking for the cards because I saw it earlier. You know that this card has been coming up a lot for the last few months about us being in the in between. And it makes me think of that void of course moon that I pulled for my friend Adrian the other day. Oh well, where are you? Not to be found. Anyway, I'm going to read a little bit from the guidebook about Hecate. Um, it says, because I was picking up this message over and over and over again. I did read this. Um, well, first of all, I posted on Facebook about being the change you wish to see in the world. And I know we've all seen that. We know that. But that was part of the messages that I was channeling. It's like, how do you want to feel in this new year? And I was also told we need to stop putting our focus on what is going on in the outer world because what shows up in the outer world is a direct result of what's going on within each of us. So if you're hating what's out in the outer world, go in here. I think 2021, and I'll repeat this for my yearly reading, 2021 is going to be a huge year of inner reflection. That was what I heard. It's time to reflect. It's time to go inward. It's time to try and figure out who we are. Stop pointing the fingers outward. Um, because everything that's going on in the outer world, I was also told, is smoke and mirrors as to a bigger agenda that we're not aware of. And I love Rick Levine said a few days ago in his little weekly wisdom, anybody that says they know what's going on is wrong because nobody really knows what's going on. There's so many layers to so many things, call it conspiracy, whatever. Just focus on your happiness, focus on your joy, turn the friggin' TV off. I've said it before, like the news media, they're there for entertainment. They are there to sell advertisement slots. Yes, some of it is, okay, but we don't even know what's real and what's not anymore. So I watch the weather. I like to see what the weather is, and then that's it. And I haven't even been putting the weather on for days because, as some of you know, I'm quarantined. I did a 2-hour live show on New Year's Eve. It's only posted on Facebook. I'm sorry. I apologize to anybody else on any other platform. But I pull cards for the people that were in there in the live show. I did a sign by sign little synopsis horoscope and pulled cards for each sign, each sun sign, rising sign, and moon. So you may want to check it out. Um, I'll try and convert it and get it onto YouTube. All right, so I kept hearing patience, about having patience. And when it came down to patience, and that's part of this Hecate message of that in between, let you see her really good. Um, People are so used to instant gratification. They want everything yesterday, right now. Sit in this present moment and stop worrying about what's going to show up for the future, when is it going to show up, how is it going to show up. We waste so much time doing that. And yes, I am a manifester, so I do like to think about, but really think about, how do you want to feel this year? How do you want to feel next year? How do you want to feel going forward? And you can envision what it looks like. But like I said, anything outside of you, um, you can't, what am I trying to say? A lot of people seek their happiness outside of them. And they're looking for the perfect person, the perfect job, the perfect house, the perfect situation, whatever it is, perfect people in their lives to make them happy. And there's so many people, I was getting this message, so many people that are so unhappy. They're wanting 2020 to be over. They're wanting COVID to be over. They want to go back to their old lives, um, because they're so unhappy with themselves. And yes, I spent a lot of days angry about my COVID exposure, but I channeled that into a productive project. Um, but I knew that that was my ego being angry. And not only that, I had to go within myself and figure out, well, where is this anger coming from? Like, and then stop playing the victim. But yes, we have to instill the patience. And so now, great segue into Hecate. Okay, so she says, you're standing, I need better lighting in here. You're standing in the liminal spaces between what was and what will be. And I've been talking about that for quite some time, right? Who you have been and who you are becoming. The Greek goddess of the crossroads and the in between, Hecate, welcomes you to her domain and reminds you that neither place is your home. So, not the past, not the future. They're not our homes. That's part of what this patience is that I was picking up. The here, right now, the present moment. Staying as present as possible is our job. Um, I'll get more into her when I do her message, but I really love I really love the alignment message. You know what? I'm going to use my phone so that I can get more light on this because it's not working for me. There are times when you find yourself stuck between worlds, unable to go back to the way things were, and afraid to move forward without knowing what you're facing. This indecision can be crippling, but you can't stay forever in the in between. I love that. Um, and what's interesting too is that that was a big message I was picking up. Um, and I get debilitated, I get crippled when I'm grief stricken. So some of you know, because I've said it over the years, that I keep a gratitude jar, my serendipity, my miracle jar. And when something really special happens, I write it down, I put the date, fold it up, and I put it in there. And then on New Year's Day, I read my messages, and it reminds me of what a miracle the year was. Well, when I opened up my jar this year, I saw that my messages for 2018 and 2019 were still in the jar. I can't remember if I read them or not. Normally, after I read them, I fold them up all nice and neat and I put them in an envelope and I seal it and then I write the year on there. And I have like 15, at least 15 years worth saved. And there was two messages in there from 2015. So I don't know if they were stuck in the lid or I don't know. It was really weird, but I think it was perfect. However, going through the 2018 messages made me realize how much grief I have been in. And in looking at the 2019, many of you know that I lost two dogs back to back within 6 months of each other, the end of 2018 and then the beginning of 2019. But 2018, I lost 18 people in my life. Um, between Memorial Day and Labor Day of 2018. And I think I include my one dog in there. Um, I think I've been in robot mode for the last 2 years, just going through the motions of going to work, doing this, doing my weekly wisdom, doing my readings. I'm very good in robot mode, but I think that's part of what this anger was that came out too. So it was a huge epiphany. I think we're all going to be going through a lot of epiphanies coming up, especially on January 6th. That is supposed to be a huge time for epiphanies. Why don't I put that in there? So what else do I have for you for the week? I have our crystal for the week, and it's perfect how these line up. It's release. I forgot, like, I played around with this and found out that when I put the cards up, it kind of blocks the microphone. So release and aquamarine is our crystal. And then I pulled out this cute little aquamarine that I have. I love it. I have a couple of other pieces. Aquamarine always reminds me of my mother. And then the card that will come in on Friday. Oh, yeah. So washing away, cleansing, crying, salt baths. That's what this is all about. And I think a lot of us have to do that. A lot of us are grieving. Um, we're in a cycle of transformation that is going to take 4 years to get through. 4 or 5 years. It's like a 10-year cycle that we're in. We're only in the very beginning of it. Um, things really don't start to shift fully until 2025. And I'm also hearing to remind all of you, numerology wise, and I don't even, that's numerological, I can't say it. Numerology wise, we are in a 5 year. So 2020 was a 4 year. And I'm getting chimes dinging like, yes, that is true. Um, a 4 year talks about our creativity and our belonging. A 5 year, it is all about change. 5 years for me, typically, the change results in endings and deaths, which I don't particularly like. But you'll see as we work through these goddesses that those changes are also liberating, um, even though they're extremely painful. What else? And all the energy really for 2021 is very much, and it's actually all the way up through 2023, old versus new. So that's going to be the theme for the next 3 to 4 years, old versus new. You've got Saturn, the old, squaring Uranus, the new, for the next 26 months. It's over 2 years. So you're going to have to get rid of like this push and pull. We went through a lot of it. Just know that there's going to be a lot of power struggles all year long. The card I have coming in for Friday, it's Awakening Genius. And it looks like a wise old grandmother. And so what's interesting too with that is the crone came to me the other night in my dream. The crone is the woman that holds all the mystery, has all the wisdom. But awakening genius talks about our creativity. It talks about showing people who we truly are. It talks about communication and listening and awakening that part of ourselves, which is that creative spark within ourselves, and allowing it to come to life with new, brilliant ideas. So, those are our cards for the week. Tune into Facebook and Instagram for the full channel messages paired with the astrology. And I think that's about it. And that is your weekly wisdom from me. Thank you so much for watching my video. Hopefully the graininess that I'm seeing on the screen due to the dim lighting in here will not show up this way in the video, and if it does, I'm really sorry. I will make sure that I have better lighting for the full year reading. So come back, um, and be sure to check out the full year tarot oracle reading for each month, and it'll correlate to the signs of those months as well, starting off with January, which is would be Capricorn and Aquarius energy, depending on where you fall. And then I'll go around the wheel like that. It'll be, in my mind, it's going to be really good. So come back and watch that. If you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. Helps out with, social media politics. Check me out at expressionsoftheuniverse.com, where I have blogs and articles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest. And yeah, Happy New Year. And I'll see you next week. Bye.